No worries.
Hey, it's Enrico Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
What is up, everybody? Welcome in. Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. Welcome in. Back on another Friday. Your boy, Mike Virginia. To my left. Hang on, we got to do it the right way. Mr. Britton Allan. Yeah, Mr. Britton Allan, 2 T's, 2 L's. Britton, happy Friday, my friend. Welcome back in. I'm glad to be talking baseball with you again. We just talked a little bit before the show. Work has sucked this week, so we get to let our hair down a little bit, baby. Talk some baseball again.
Yeah, I was telling you, I had kind of a blow up at work this morning, but as Billy Shakespeare wrote once, all's well that ends well. And everything got resolved. And now we're ending pretty much my day with fantasy baseball talk. Baseball is right around the corner. I was actually talking to my wife about what we're doing for opening day, because that's my second favorite day of the year. I'll let you think about what my first favorite day is, but that's my second favorite day of the year. So I'm pumped, excited to see you too. I'm digging this Friday stuff. Back in my younger days, I'm hitting the flying saucer. I'm getting the fire sale at the flying saucer, that $2.50, IP, whatever they call it.
Yeah, baby. Absolutely.
But yeah, times have changed now. Now I've hit my late 40s.
Hey, you're just getting started, man. We've only just begun. So I'm happy to be talking ball with you, dude. Hey, real quick before we get started, I also not sure if you noticed or not, but when these bad boys dropped, your boy Mike Virginia, little spring training 2025 little patch right there.
Whoa.
MLB.com, hit your boy up. I need some marketing dollars here for this show. All right. I'm modeling the new hat for you guys.
It's sharp.
Yeah, dude. The spring training hats for the O's were released. I got my hands on one. There was another one I also bought as well. My wife's like, hey, you really need 2 hats? I'm like, yeah, dude, It's baseball season. So but anyways, everybody welcome in. Thanks so much for joining. Real quick, Michael Govier will be joining us today. He's just running a little bit late, getting home from work, so he should be with us here shortly. Hang tight for that. Britton, would it surprise you to know, my friend, we are at 911 subscribers on the Pallazzo Podcast YouTube channel. How about it, buddy?
That's awesome. I don't know. Do you remember how many subscribers we had when we, first started? Like, I think it wasn't last year. It was the year before last, I think, is when I kind of started coming on. And then you came on maybe right around that time, or maybe a little bit after.
After that, yeah.
Yeah. And so, things have been trending in a good direction. So somebody likes what we're doing. And I know you don't like to toot your own horn. I know I don't. You are a humble man, but I have to read something to you because, when we post these videos, sometimes we get comments and compliments, and then, maybe some questions, and every now and then, some type of Chinese Russian bot, sexy beast 917-657-8321, will leave a comment. But this seems like it was an actual comment, and it was a compliment to you. I wanted to read it to you real quick because I don't know if you saw it.
Let's hear it.
And for the context, and this is a very important distinction. The guy on the left is me. The guy on the right is you, because if you're looking at our YouTube, I'm on the left side of the screen. You're on the right side, and that's important, and you'll see why here in a second.
Okay.
All right, so this is an actual comment, reader comment, or listener comment to the show. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
That dude on the left needs to talk about 80% less.
What?
He's annoying as fuck. The guy on the right has some good thoughts, though. So there, I was like, well, Mike V, you got a really nice compliment there. Now, there was obviously a little bit of constructive criticism. I would say a smidge previous to the compliment, but obviously,
you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, but obviously, people are liking some of the thoughts that entertain. But I read that the other day, and I showed my wife and my kids. Well, not my kids, because
I was going to say,
I left that part out. But I said, and she was like, "So you're the guy on the left?" I was like, "Yeah, that's correct. I'm the guy on the left side of the screen." But anyway, thank you for listening and for clicking. I'm not going to say the name, but thank you for listening and clicking. We do appreciate it. And shout out Mike V for uh, uh, helping the show get some positive feedback.
Well, let me tell you something, buddy. This show would not be, we would not be at 911 subscribers if it wasn't for you. So I want to go on record of saying that. So whoever wrote that comment, this show would not be the same without Britton Allan. And he brings it every time that we do shows together, and brings the entertainment value as well. I've never met a funnier dude in the space. So Britton, I'm a big fan of yours, and I wouldn't want to do shows with anybody else.
I did not bring that up to be, like, oh, good, so I need some, positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
I brought it up because it's hilarious.
I'm sure there's some bad comments floating around about me too.
Look, I'm not, not everybody's going to like, my accent and my story, I totally get that. Look, that's totally fine. But yeah, it's funny reading that because, 99% are like nice comments. But so it's nice to every now and then get that one. You're like, wow, hey, there you go. But anyway, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Like I said, buddy, I'm glad to be doing shows with you, and I wouldn't do them with anybody else. So you're not going anywhere. We got some people in the live chat here. Uncle Ted says it's probably just an Oriole fan. That's probably true. We are a grumpy bunch. We haven't signed anybody really this offseason. We keep signing outfielders, which is crazy. I believe, this is, Chad, I think you changed your YouTube YouTube handle, F6P Chad. I think this is Chad from Pallazzo. I don't know. I think we could replace Britton with a turkey melt and have similar results.
I skipped for turkey Chad. Yeah, you're now I'm getting a little hungry. Are we talking Swiss? Oh, I love some turkey Swiss.
So do I, man. You're singing to my heart right now. So today's show, Britton, all about fantasy football, fantasy baseball prep. I believe this is show 3, if I'm not mistaken, my friend. And we got a shit ton of views on the last show that you and I did together. So I am super pumped to be doing another one with you. Real quick, I know Govier is going to be joining us too, but I kind of want to dive into the show here real quick in terms of our catch of the day. And I wish Govier were here to play the catch of the day button. But I did want to pick your brain live on the spot because I did do the show sheet here real late.
Get me.
And the question I want to talk to you about, and for all of our listeners as well, is, and I think this is an interesting question, and I'm so glad I thought about it. So toot my own horn here, pat myself on the back. What did you learn last year from the fantasy baseball season that you are bringing with you into draft season this year?
I think
that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think the most successful drafts I had last year focused on hitting. And that sounds really like, well, yeah, of course that's important. But I mean, like nailing those round 10 kind of elite, like first round, that can be first round hitters is so important because that's what makes your team different. So my focus, like last year, every team that I drafted, Brent Rooker won because he got drafted in the 10th or later in a draft and hold league and hit over 300 with 30 home runs and 20 stolen bases and everything that goes along with that. Like so what it kind of said to me is like if I hadn't have drafted him, I wouldn't have won. Because that's how tight these leagues are, especially draft and hold leagues. So my focus, like, is in these drafts this year, is finding a player like that provides, way beyond draft value, like expectations. So that's kind of like our focus, and that's what we talk about, week after week. Like last week, we talked about sleepers. And this week we're talking about insane fantasy takes. And I've got one that's not like insane, but I think this player, which I didn't talk about this player last week. I wanted to, but I didn't because I wanted to save him. Plus, apparently he's not a very well liked player, but I can dive in unless you want. Why don't you tell me what you learned and then we can dive into it.
Yeah, really quickly. I was very heavy on I fell into the prospect Kool-Aid there, Britton. So I drafted a lot of Wyatt Langford, which, don't get me wrong, had a decent rookie season. I bought a lot of Jackson Hollidays, Evan Carter's, again, same thing, like not a rookie, but a guy who was um, I think he qualified as a rookie last year, if I'm not mistaken, because of the at-bats, but he played the season before that. So I was very heavy on rookies, thinking that I was going to cash one of those lottery tickets, and these guys were going to start the year with the big league team or come out of the gate hitting hot. And I tell myself that every year not to do that, but at the same time too, it's hard not to when their heliums get so elevated during draft season. So what's up, Gove? So the big thing for me, obviously, going into this year is I think I'm going to do my homework a little bit more and not read so much into spring training. I said this to everybody on this show. I said it that spring training doesn't mean. A lot of people will say, "Oh, spring training doesn't mean anything or doesn't mean much." I think it means something, but I think I put a little bit too much draft stock into that. So, guys like some
Maikel Franco.
Yeah,
remember Maikel Franco led the league in home runs in spring training that one year, and then hit like 10 during the regular season.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. Like, I'm a big prospects guy. Any of my friends in my home league will tell you this, but like, I'm probably going to have a lot of Roman Anthony and Dylan Cruz and Walker Jenkins and Jackson Jobes, but I'm not going to be drafting a bunch of those guys to one team, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to be taking all of these big early round picks thinking I'm going to hit a lottery ticket. I think having a couple of those is fine, but I think that's where it kind of fell into a pothole for me. But Govier, what is up, my friend? Welcome in.
What's up, dude?
What's up, guys? How you doing? What's the good word? How's society treating you?
Doing well. Doing well. I wanted to shout you out because you were on PitchCon, which is a podcast live stream that was for charity. And I caught your segment, the Michael Govier Power Hour. Hilarious, fantastic. I would encourage everyone to go to the either pitcherlist.com or somewhere and watch
somewhere.
Somewhere on the internet. I'm sure it's out there, right?
It's out there.
It's out there.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
That was a great show, Mike. How'd you feel about it?
It's usually what I always feel about it. Could have done some more work, probably more prep, but still, when you do it, you always feel good about it. So I'm always grateful to be a part of that. And I think my only big regret is that my funky butt loving clip, there no audio for that. So I was really sad that nobody could hear that part. But otherwise, yeah, it was a good time. So
I thought that was like an Andy Kaufman bit you were doing. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Chad wants to know, Govier, is that a connection issue or special effect? Yeah, psychedelic, very psychedelic. No, I'm just at work. So I'm trying to protect work stuff here. But no special green screen today for me.
Yeah.
So where are we at, fellas? What the hell's going on? What do we do now? What did I jump into here?
Yeah, I just asked the question. It was our catch of the day. I don't know if you have the catch of the day button if you wanted to hit it.
I do. Always ready to go. I got the whole setup here. Bring it on the road with me. World Tour, West Side Worldwide.
Good. Our first catch of the day.
So my question that I posed to Britton before he hopped on here and what I was giving my response on was, what's one thing you learned from last year that you're taking with you into draft prep for this year?
Oh, geez. How much time do I have?
Putting you on the spot, yeah.
Right? I mean, geez Louise. I keep this document I do. I call it Fantasy Baseball Confidential. And I have all this stuff all year long. I actually, every week of the season, or the fantasy season, I do daily tidbits about what players did when people get hurt, people get called up. Basically, it's like transactions galore, but then also fab bids I'm doing that week, players I'm dropping, what type of leagues am I dropping them in. It's pretty intensive. And once the season ends, it's a very valuable document. It really helps me out. So I'm looking at that, and I have a particular area here that's called lessons for next year. So this is perfect for that. Here's the first thing I wrote down. I don't know the date when I wrote it down because I didn't put the date. I loved Spencer Steer last year, so why not draft him more this year? I was regretting not having more Spencer Steer last year. So
Okay.
that was one. Get all predictions on the record and stay with your gut always.
Okay.
Yes.
That was a focus. Don't draft pitching with the first 2 picks. I guess I was locked in that day. Trey Cabbage was terrible. Change your mind if you get locked in on a prediction. You can change your mind, Mike. Trey Cabbage had really weak hard hit rates, and I ignored that. So that was something I noticed a couple weeks after I really got in on Trey Cabbage last year. That was not a good one. But
he had a great in your defense. In Trey Cabbage's defense, he had a great AAA, like 20. I think he went 30-30 or something.
He
crazy
did
like that.
Yeah.
Like by objective standards, he was an outlier. But
I got too caught up with that one thing, Britton, right?
Yeah.
But he's with the Astros now, right? So it should be all right.
I don't know where he is now. I think they moved on from him.
Go?
He was. I don't even know where he's at now. That's the other thing too. Is a guy like what's his face today? He signed with the White Sox. Old man time. Brandon Drury.
He's actually with the Pittsburgh Pirates, guys.
Oh, Pittsburgh's collecting a lot of fun guys I like Spencer Horwitz and Adam Frazier, right? We all love Adam Frazier, don't we?
Oh, God.
I apologize. He's actually not with them. He's actually with the Yomiuri
Great
Giants
job.
of the I don't know how you say this, Nippon Professional Baseball.
He and Brendan Rodgers are
Oh, Brendan went to Nippon?
Nippon, is that how you say it?
I say Nippon. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's fine.
Okay.
They know that I love Japanese baseball, so I actually now, like I said during the thing I did last week at PitchCon, I love Mr. Baseball, which is a movie about Tom Selleck playing baseball in Japan. I used to hate it when I was a kid, but I love it now.
There you go. So yeah. So
anyways, yeah.
I like the things that you put down there. Britton and I were also talking about obviously our quest to 1,000. So we're at 911 right now, which is
subscribe, please.
Yes, we're almost there. So make sure you guys do that if you haven't done so already. Looks like we have 104 people tuning into us across all of our platforms here. So if you haven't done so already, really takes 2 seconds. Steal your girlfriend's phone, your husband's phone, your grandpa, your grandma, your mom, your dad, whoever. Steal their phone, open the YouTube app, hit subscribe. It's that quick. Help us get to 1,000. We'd love you forever.
We could hit it right now. If everyone pitched in and took it 5 minutes right now, we could hit 1,000. There's that many people who know this show, and you all know that many additional people. Make it happen right now. Let's do it. Let's just lock this up tonight.
There you go. I would love that.
My sister-in-law and brother-in-law came to a birthday party at our house a couple of weeks ago, and the first thing I said to her was, "Let me see your phone."
I love it.
I'm shameless, man. No shame. I'm like, guess
it.
what? It's free. You subscribe.
Proud of you, Britton. Very proud. I approve of that behavior wholeheartedly. One last thing, I just want to mention a couple of things real quick, and we'll move on from this on my part. Never forget the Trevor Williams ride for the first 2 months of 2024. So I'm just gonna, let's all never forget that happened.
What a beautiful ride it was.
What a ride it was. Yes. David Hamilton.
Yeah.
He did. Okay, great.
Oh,
more Trevor Williams.
Love David Hamilton, man. I loved him last year.
Yeah, me too. I said David Hamilton is the darling of everybody by mid-June. And I was all over him, but I didn't have enough shares outside of my Dynasty, which is stupid. I did that thing where I'm like, well, I got Dynasty shares, but I don't want to overexpose myself by having redraft shares too. That makes no sense. I mean, if I liked him in Dynasty, why didn't I like him in redraft, you idiot?
Great job.
Those Boston prospects may make him null and void. Anthony and Campbell.
Yeah.
Actually, I was going to say after this, me and Robbie are going to do second base we've been doing Dynasty positional rankings. Make sure you check out our playlist on our YouTube here. We got positional rankings for Dynasty, redraft. We do each episode to focus on one position, and David Hamilton will be a part of second base. And one of the things I noted about him for 2025 is that competition was the big X factor that'll really be a problem for him this year.
Yeah. And real quick, if you guys haven't checked that out, Robbie, I know you're in the live chat too. My heart is broken that you left off when we guys did the catcher episode, that you guys left off Samuel Basallo. Okay. My heart is broken right now. I still haven't healed from that. It's like I'm like doing the thing where like I'm using the scrub button up and down, looking for like the timestamps of Samuel Basallo.
Oh no. That's terrible. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that. And then lastly, I'll say make use of splits more often. Learn from the Cal Quantrill lesson. So, he was really good on the road, right? Was it really good on the road? Terrible at home last year? He actually was serviceable depending on when you could use him. So I thought I'd look at splits more in 2025. And those are a few. There's a lot of other tidbits I will look into further, but those are a few.
Cool. There you go. Real quick, I want to ask you guys this question as well, and I'm glad you brought that up, Gov. And Britton, I'll start with you here. I think a lot of the times too, and another pitfall that I fall into is getting too caught up in the stats aspect of it. Like, I'm very much a StatCast guy. I'm very much a guy that goes into my Yahoo app and I look at the past 10 games, the last 2 weeks, the last month. How much stock do you put into that stuff going into draft season for maybe the people that are watching us that are new to fantasy baseball? What are you looking for when you're evaluating a player and when you're drafting them? Is it stats? Is it, hey, like this guy came on strong late? What do you look for when you're drafting guys maybe after round 8, 9, 10?
As I've gotten older and drafted more, I've really started to embrace the projection systems. ATC, the BAT X, and I look at those things, and I also look I look at StatCast every day before I draft a player. I look at StatCast to see it's real simple: red good, blue bad.
That's right.
Even for somebody like me that I don't like reading, spreadsheets and Excel stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, but like today, I was in a draft and hold league, and it was my turn to pick, and it was a pick between 3 outfielders, and one of them was Jesus Sanchez. And I went to a StatCast page, and I was amazed. I was like, "Holy yes!" Like, I know he plays for the Marlins, but he hits third. It's all red, and it's like 18 home runs and like 16, and he's 27, 16 stolen bases, 27, and it was between him and 2 other guys, and I was like, I'm that's why I drafted him. I was like. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is prime ready to go. And normally I never would have done that. I would have picked, I think it was between him and like Jorge Soler, which is, fine. Jorge's going to hit 20 home runs. He's not going to steal any bases, and he plays for the Angels. But it's like I use it for like tiebreaker stuff. And
gotcha.
and if I see a real, every now and then, and you guys I'm sure do this too, but every now and then you look at, like today for me it was Jesus Sanchez for the Marlins. But every now and then I look at somebody's stat page and I was like, I had no idea that he was this good for whatever player, but that's what
amazing
what
work.
I do.
Well, you brought it up last show that we did too, right? Like, I forgot the Braves pitcher we talked about.
Grant Holmes.
Oh, Grant Holmes. Yeah.
Grant Holmes. Yeah. I didn't realize enough about him either.
I know something about this because I got to tell you guys after the show, I learned something amazing about how you can learn about a show in 5 minutes that you guys did last Friday. But go ahead, Grant Holmes. Yes.
Okay, cool. But with Grant Holmes, I had no idea until you mentioned him. When I pulled up his StatCast page, I'm like, holy shit. So I'm very much a data-driven guy. I like looking at stats as well. So and look at that, man. It's just sexy.
Yeah, what about mustaches?
It kind of looks like Britton in a Braves hat.
Look at that hair. Look at that party in the back. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, dude.
Britton grew out a kind of, what is that, the Fu Man?
Yeah, can you rock that, Britton?
100%. One time I shaved my beard and I left just the mustache. And
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, and I my wife Sarah, I said, well, "Hey, what do you think?" And she goes, "Absolutely not." and that mustache lasted for approximately 5 minutes.
There you go. So, Gov, what about you? When you're going into draft season too, like, what do you come prepped with? You come with StatCast, or you just kind of on the fly when you're drafting guys?
Well, of course, I'm looking at stats that stand out. I'm looking for things that are flukes. I'm looking for guys that had shitty years, that maybe are much better. They have talent, but it just didn't go their way for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And then you got to decide what those reasons are. Are they valuable, or is it injuries? Anybody get injured? But also some people seem to be injury prone. So yeah, I look at data too, but I don't look at all the data. I want to look at how hard they hit the ball, and I want to look at how often they strike out. I love walks. Walks are always huge for me. OBP guy, big time. I think that's pretty much some of the basics of the data. And then it's about my experiential cognitive MLB matrix of decades of watching baseball, knowing what happens. Narratives are a real thing. They're not always true, but you know that certain players are on an arc. They may never hit it. what you hope they achieve, but you can make some solid guesses without taking too great a risk on where a player is about to go. Like Andres Gimenez, let's talk about him. 2022, he had that incredible year, right?
Yep.
And then the next 2 years were kind of ho-hum. He did not deliver on those next 2 years. So in that case, you're like, wow, this guy's going to only get better. At the time, I think he's only 25 or 26 still. He's still pretty young, I believe. Yeah. And that didn't happen. So I would have got burned if I thought that, there's more to come here. But when I saw that incredible year in 2022, I took the other approach saying, whoa, that's a hell of a year. He's probably going to come back, but I would have expected him to come back in 24. So you can start making yourself go crazy when you use narratives and player arcs and career arcs, but I use it as part of my approach.
Yeah, and well said. And for me, really quick, just to touch on it, Britton brought up a good point. I think where you make or break your drafts to a certain extent is obviously health is a big thing. But if you can get a guy like Brent Rooker, or a guy that we all knew he had the power, but he had probably his best year and might have another one looming here. And obviously his ADP is going to be inflated from last year into this year. But if you can find those guys, and Britt and I talked about some of these sleepers that we like after pick 200. Everyone knows the Freddie Freemans and the Acuñas and the Bryce Harpers and the Lindors and all those guys that you're drafting within the first 6 rounds. But I mean, look at all this red, dude. And 293, 39 home runs and 112 RBIs for arguably the worst team in baseball. And you got him after round 10. That's crazy.
He reminds me of like when JD Martinez popped. He had like one half season with the Tigers that was amazing.
That's right.
Like a late bloomer. Like that's kind of like this Brent Rooker situation.
I remember it well. That was a great moment. JD Martinez was a very highly touted prospect, but he just didn't pan out for Houston. But then he came alive here in Detroit, and the rest is history. I don't think that Brent Rooker's going to hit 293 again, folks. I just don't believe that. I don't.
Yeah, he probably more is like a 260, 270 hitter, probably, maybe. But at the same time, too, the power's for real. But for me, like when I go into drafts, like obviously there's guys that I'm targeting and I like and stats and things like that. But after round 10, I think we talked about a guy that I like to target maybe is a guy like Nolan Jones, who a lot of people are going to be an afterthought because of the year that he had last year. He's going well after pick 220. But who knows, maybe the truth, and he had a great season prior to, maybe a little bit inflated and everyone kind of saw through that except me. But maybe the truth falls somewhere in the middle. And if it falls in the middle, you're getting a steal at that price. So I'm kind of with Britton too. I'm looking for guys that are after kind of pick around 10 that might be diamonds in the roughs. Maybe that's where I take a shot on a rookie, whether it's a pitcher or a bat, or maybe a closer in the wings or whatever it may be. Because I really think that is something that you go into drafts prepping for and be like, hey, here's some of my sleepers. And if you missed that episode, make sure you guys go check that again. We did that show last Friday. Britton made some great calls too, and some guys I even wrote down there a little bit. So you guys may want to take that into draft prep or your drafts. So genius. Just my 2 cents. So obviously today's show, we talked about it is too with the insane fantasy takes. You guys want to get into the meat of the show here? Talk about some guys that we're
I got an insane take. It's going to make you mad.
All right.
We're going to leave a bad comment on our YouTube comments after you listen to this insane take.
Okay, let's hear it. I'm ready, baby. Hit me.
Wait, I got to play the song first. So, I was slightly behind on that. In 3, 2, 1. Let's do Insane Fantasy Takes here. Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah.
Right here. Britton
2.
Allan, Mike Virginia, Michael Govier. Follow everybody on the Pallazzo Podcast, our Galaxy of Stars. We're here to serve you. Insane Fantasy Takes. Why you taking that player? Insane Fantasy Takes. Why you taking that player? Insane Fantasy Takes. Why you taking that player? I am the whitest man you know. That's right. All right, let's get into it. Britton, I can't wait. I'm so stoked to hear what this is going to be.
Pete Crow-Armstrong is going to have more stolen bases and home runs than Ronald Acuña. He's going to finish 20 home runs, 50 stolen bases.
Insane Fantasy Takes.
I love that call. I love PCA, man. I loved him coming up, and I love him this year as well. I hope that happens.
Let's begin at the beginning which I guess makes sense. It's like I'm a poet or something. Billy
Beautiful.
Shakespeare, shout out.
Mwah.
But so Ronald Acuna is one of my favorite players in the league. I've always I have a T-shirt. I looked for it in the drawer, but I didn't have enough time to dig in there and find it because I have a Ronald Acuna T-shirt from RotoWare. Anyway, I love Ronald Acuna, but he's on 2 bum knees, surgically repaired situations. He's going to start the year late. That just makes me sad. And so but it's not really about Ronald Acuna so much as it is about Pete Crow-Armstrong. And look, and Michael Govier is putting up his StatCast page, and I've seen it. It's ugly. It doesn't look good, but just hear me out. So when Pete Crow-Armstrong started out the year, he played so poorly, they sent him down to the minor leagues. And when he was sent down, I kept an eye on him. And I remember I was watching. I have the minor league app, from MLB at bat. Anyway, I was watching, and so he was in the minor leagues after being demoted, and was at bat in the box. And I can't remember who the pitcher was. It was like some old crusty vet, like Wandy Peralta or some mess like that. I can't remember, but the old veteran guy threw at his head once. So he fell to the ground, got back up, threw at his head again. He got back up, brushed himself off, and what did he do with the next pitch? He cranked that sucker 400 feet out to dead center. And this is what I love about it. When he rounded the bases, he didn't look at the pitcher once, not a glance, not a second of a glance. He just did his business, crossed home plate, and calmly walked to the dugout. This is grit. And if you look at his first half stats, it was pretty terrible. But when he got brought back up, look at his second half stats. Everything improved, like everything, contact, power, everything. And I love him because he is an elite defender. He is, not to go too far down Narrow Street, but he is like a fiery player, like Acuna. He takes a lot of pride in his defense. He's probably one of the best center fielders in baseball with his elite defense. So he's going to get playing time. Now, if he bats at the bottom of the order or the top of the order, we'll see. But he's an elite defender. And if you look at his stats last year, now remember, he's 23 years old. 23 years old. 14 home runs, 34 stolen bases. He had an inside the park home run where, he hit it, and I took a sip of my beer, and he was on third base. I was like, "What is happening?" And he made it all the way home. He's one of the.
It was like 14 seconds. Yeah, it's fast.
He's one of the fastest players in the league. He's going to steal 40 bags. He stole 34 last year, and that was when he spent some time being demoted in AAA. But that's one of those things where, like, it worked out. Like, he came back up. Yeah, he's just like a fiery gamer dude. Like, you throw up my head twice, I don't care, and then cranked it. And obviously, he's going to play every day because he's awesome in the outfield. So that is my insane take. I love you, Ronald Acuna, but I think Pete Crow-Armstrong is going to be a 20 home run, 40 to 50 steal guy that you get in past round 10 in a 15-team draft. And every draft I have, there are 2 outfielders that I absolutely want. Number one is Tyler O'Neill for the guy on the right side of the screens. I think he's going to hit 35 home runs, and you can draft him past round 10. And Pete Crow-Armstrong. So you draft those 2 players because Tyler O'Neill isn't going to steal many bases, if any. So then now you put this one player together, and you're talking like 60 home runs and 60 stolen bases out of 2 outfielders that you get past round 10.
Love that, dude.
Is that crazy?
Insane
No.
fantasy takes.
So real quick, I want to touch on this with hitches and leg kicks. So I don't know if you guys know this. I used to be a hitting instructor as well, and we used to talk about this all the time with front leg kicks. You have to have insanely fast hands at the pro level with high leg kicks. front leg is usually just a timing mechanism for a lot of guys. So when you start seeing guys who are constantly pumping mid to upper 90s in terms of fastballs, we're just late to the ball. So you looked at Jackson Holliday, you look at Crow-Armstrong. Once they started taking things and started getting a little bit more quiet with their swings and not trying to do so much with noisy hands, the waving the bats or, hands super high or leg kicks super high, whatever it may be, things started coming together. So I like that call a lot there, Britton. And I think Uncle Ted's on something here as well. It's part of the reason why I like Jackson Holliday again this year, not because he's an O's guy, but hopefully he made the corrections at the plate. Yeah. Exactly, right. But Gove, I'm gonna pass it over to you here. What's one of your insane fantasy takes for the 2025 fantasy baseball season?
All right, I am going to say this: Luis Garcia, the Washington Nationals, will be a top 5 second baseman in 2025. Yeah. Insane fantasy takes.
So I live in the Northern Virginia area, so I'm actually closer to Nats Park than I am Camden Yards. But I'm a little perplexed on this one, but I'm interested to hear your take. Why are so many people high on Luis Garcia?
Well, for me, it goes back to many generations. Actually, it's not generations at all. It's just a couple of years. But he's been up for a while now. He came up at a very young age. He's got a lot of experience already. People, if you don't know that about Luis Garcia, and there's been a couple of Luis Garcias in Major League Baseball over the years. This is Luis Garcia Jr., if you want to be technical. I liked him early on. I thought he's a guy that could hit for more average. He hadn't quite tapped into like a 300 type average yet, but last year he stole 20 plus bases, which was really promising because I was worried that we weren't going to get enough steals either for him to be somebody who could finish as a top 5 second baseman. I wasn't concerned about the power. I thought it was modest to solid 20 home run power per year, a guy who could hit 270, and this was a couple years ago, but then he kind of floundered around and he never walks. He's not much of a walker, so that's usually against my typical type of player, right?
Yep.
But he's only so young still. He's 24 years old still. 24. Okay? So this guy is not even in his prime, and he's already had a couple seasons of MLB experience. And I love the Nats lineup. That's part of this too. You put that into place with his profile that he can make contact. He doesn't strike out a ton. He can steal more bags. He's learned the game. I think he's gonna approach 300 this year with 20 dongs and 20 steals.
Yeah, love it. I mean, you see his stats on the screen for those of you guys who are watching us on YouTube. 282 average, 18 home runs, 22 stolen bases. That'll play. I do agree with Gove. I tend to lean guys who have a good walk rate. I believe he was one. I think it was in like a single digits, like 8% or something like that. So he's a free swinger.
5. Yeah.
5%. Yeah. So yeah, he's going to have, I think he's going to have to, at some point, going to have to figure that out there a little bit. Uncle
Ted's went up in me.
Yeah. I don't know if he goes 30-30. I could see him replicating a season similar to what he had this past season. I honestly, I'm going to go on record of saying this. Might not play every day.
Oh, Star, you're hitting me where it hurts.
They sat him against lefties at the beginning for I would say the majority of the season, but they're at the end, and maybe it's because they were out of contention or something. But he played against lefties, so hopefully that
that's a fair point. Maybe I need to look at that again. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't realize he went 18 and 20 there with the home runs and the stolen bases there. But yeah,
don't forget that batting average. That's huge.
Yeah, exactly. Especially from a middle infielder too. At 280. Yeah,
he's still at 500 plus plate appearances. It wasn't like he was a 400 plate appearances platoon guy. Just saying.
So. Right.
There you go. So one of my fantasy takes here, guys, and I'm going to make sure I get this right because I wrote this on the show sheet. Yeah, I got a bunch of them here, but Grayson Rodriguez, shocker again. I know for you guys, Grayson Rodriguez finishes as I'm going to change this up. He's going to finish as a top 5 starting pitcher this year. Grayson Rodriguez. For those of you guys who don't remember this, he was the top pitching prospect in baseball. It's his second season in Camden Yards here. He hasn't really shown us what we've seen from him in the minors. I think from the K potential he has, but something my brother brings up constantly when we watch Grayson Rodriguez is when he goes deep into games. I don't know if this is a coaching thing or if this is a Grayson thing, but in the Baltimore area, they always use the gas cans and the fire and things like that. I think that plays to his detriment to a certain extent, because when he starts to poo-poo out, he had a lot of bad games where he lost it towards the end of his starts, the 5th or the 6th inning, and Hyde probably should start figuring that out here a little bit because they either leave him in too late. But if he can figure that out and keep the runs down a little bit and that whip and ERA, a little something left to be desired, but still 13-4, which is a solid season. If you guys are watching us on YouTube here, had 130 strikeouts, which is one more than he had in the 2023 season with 3 less starts. So for a guy who's not drafting a starting pitcher within the first 4 rounds, I refuse to do it. I don't care who's there. And I love Paul Skeens. I love him so effing much. I'm not touching him with a 40-foot pole with my first round pick or even the early second. But I love Grayson Rodriguez this year as a guy that you can get later in drafts who could produce as, again, a guy that's going to get you wins for a strong Baltimore team and give you a lot of strikeouts. Top 5 starting pitcher this year. Book it.
Love it.
Insane fantasy takes.
And the prospect pedigree is still there. Okay, it's still there.
It's still there. Still real to me, damn it. All right, Britton, back to you, buddy. You got another one?
Yes. And this one may be more upsetting than the last one. More insane.
Wow, dude.
Because I got a fever. And the only prescription for that fever is jazz. Sweet jazz.
Oh, boy.
There it is.
I mean, like East St. Louis jazz. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about Jazz Chisholm Jr. is going to be the American League MVP, hitting. Like, people don't remember, he didn't play at the Yankees all year last year. He got traded. Like, he started out like the outfield in Miami. Whatever. Well, now he's in New York. He's going to be batting second in an all-star lineup. He loves hitting in New York. I mean, talk about feeding into that personality. The stars are brighter. The food tastes better. You know, I've never been to New York. I don't know, but it is like the flashiest place in the world, and that's what he does, man. He's a shooting star. He's going to have. He is like the epitome of like a one great year, and this is going to be the year. I think hitting. Do you know how many feet it is on that short porch? It's like 316. He's a lefty bat. He's going to hit 35 home runs, like Juan Soto home runs, over to that porch. The problem is that he's going to have so much power. He's probably not going to steal as many bases as he normally would, but he's going to Ellie De La Cruz that nonsense. And anytime he's on base, he's stealing, because Boone isn't going to wrangle that in. Heck no, that's not his style. He just said he's more of a, you know, like on those dark ops missions, like, you know, weapons free. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no rules of engagement here.
Yeah.
So if Jazz is on second, he's stealing third. If he's on third and sees something weird, he's stealing home. I think it's going to be an all-out, like, Wild West show with Jazz Chisholm Jr. Batting at the top of the order for the New York Yankees. I think he's going to have a MVP year. What do you think? Is that too crazy?
No, I don't think it's. I think he has the potential to be that. I'm gonna counter your bold fantasy take here with another one of mine. Jazz Chisholm is going to be the biggest bust in 2025 drafts.
Insane fantasy takes.
And when I say that, it's not because of the talent. It's more so the fact is I think this is probably going to be one of his more healthy seasons that he had one of the more healthy seasons that he did in a while. Here's the thing with Jazz. We talked about it last year. We made a bet, obviously, in Britain, which I believe you won. I think we had the Jazz Chisholm versus Royce Lewis, who's going to stay healthier. The fact that we were even having that conversation is a reason why I'm not touching him in the second round. After one season where he did that, right? And I believe he still got hurt, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't he get hurt right before the playoffs? Didn't that happen?
I think so, and he played through it.
Yeah, he actually did.
So, you know, and again, he's out from under that dark cloud in Miami. He's with New York. He's got a lot more protection as well. But for a guy, and Torres talked about this in the first show that we did. If you guys missed that, go back and check that out as well. But for a guy that has so much boom or bust potential just from an injury aspect, I love the talent. I think he's a lock for 2020 for sure in that lineup. But for a guy that I don't even know what his ADP is. I believe last time we checked it was in the second round. But
It's getting worse because it looks like he's going to get second base eligibility. He's already got third in outfield. So now you're talking middle, corner, second, third, and outfield for a guy that's going to play every day. And yes, injury is the reason why he's not a first round player, right?
Yeah.
But that's why you can hopefully get him like in the third round. And if you're in a 12-team league or a 10-team league, he's not being drafted in the second or third round. He's being drafted way after that. Yeah. So, but he can win you your league. He can win you your league 100%.
Where do you feel comfortable drafting him at though, Britton? Like, are you taking him in the second round if he's there too? Like, let's say in a 12, 15-man league?
Yeah, I reach on him. I do. I'm a true Jazz believer. I think that this is going to be the year. Like, everything fits right. He's in a great lineup. He's in the perfect park to hit with lefty power. He's got a manager. Everything is set right. Is he going to get injured? Probably. Most players do. Is he going to play through it? 100%. Like when you're playing for the Miami Marlins and you're playing and they stick you out in the outfield and you don't give an S, are you really going to play through some injuries? And that's all narrative. I get it. But look at he played like 140 games last year. Like I think he's going to play through whatever. He's in a solid lineup. It couldn't work out better. Like, this is the situation you want for a player that you can draft that people are sleeping on a little bit because of the injury thing, right?
Yeah.
But he needs to get that money. Like, he hadn't had his big contract yet.
That's true.
Like, he needs to get that money. So everything is working out in his favor. Jazz Chisholm Jr. for the New York Yankees. And with all that eligibility, if I'm in a best ball, that dude is on my booty call number. You remember the booty call, Mike V? It's 3 a.m. The bar's closed. I need some eligibility in my draft. You know what does that mean?
Honey, if you're
you know what it means.
Honey, if you're watching this, I don't know what a booty call is. Okay. So I've never done that. So anyways, Gove, pass it back over to you. I love the Jazz call, Britton. I think he's definitely got league winning upside. Gove, what's a guy that you're?
But wait. You don't love the Jazz call though. Wait, but didn't you just say the opposite?
Oh, that's my bold fantasy take.
This is an entertainment show, Govier. Our opinions aren't real. This we're trying to get clicks here, man.
Say
what are you talking about?
I did say he had the biggest boom
the view
potential. So
yeah,
but he's too risky for me at that. I guess what I'm trying to say is I love the enthusiasm that you have behind Jazz. Britton.
Okay, there you go. Hey, we hold people accountable here.
I'm personally not touching.
Have integrity at the Pallazzo podcast, do we not?
Utah.
Yeah.
No, we have nothing.
Give me two.
We are nothing but hot air dipshits just out here saying shit on a Friday night.
My middle name, man.
Trying to have a good time, you know.
That's right.
Like, if you want me to read off some stats, I can do that, but who gives a shit?
Woo!
You know, let's have some
people
fun.
love that, Britton. They love that so much. Here we go. Alec Bohm of the Philadelphia Phillies will have a career year, and he will not only finish as a top 3 third baseman, he will hit 25-plus home runs, hit 300, drive in 100, and maybe score 90 runs.
Insane fantasy takes.
There you go.
Love it.
28 years old, Philadelphia lineup in his prime. Yes, the power's never quite been there in terms of like 30 dong power, but I think he hits the ball hard enough, and he'll hit it a little harder this year. He's at like a 35 hard hit rate, I believe, and that's going to go up a bit. I think he can tap into 40 this season and really put it all together. Now, I don't worry about batting average. And the other thing with Bohm, too, is the floor is always really, really strong, I feel like. So even if he doesn't quite reach the accolades I'm throwing upon him with this insane fantasy take, Alec Bohm is a guy that I feel very confident drafting this year, and I think the returns will be the best of his career. First-round pick, top pick when he came out. This guy is got everything you'd want except steals. So
yeah, and kind of like Luis Garcia, another strong batting average, 280, hit 15 home runs. And Gove, his hard hit percentage was 45.6 last year. So
even better.
Which ranked in the 76th percentile. The number that's standing out to me, the two actually that are standing out to me, since we're talking about StatCast with Alec Bohm, his squared up percentage was at the 95th percentile, and this dude does not strike out. He only strikes out at a 14% clip, which ranked in the 92nd percentile. So for a guy in a Philadelphia lineup that if everyone can stay healthy with Turner and Harper and Kyle Schwarber obviously hitting the dongs that he does, I do agree with you. The power is not going to be there, but these guys need to give you solid RBIs, average OBP. Britton, what's your thoughts on the Alec Bohm call there?
I love it. I love the situation. I love his skills. I love the fact that you can say bomb, 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 bomb. That's real mature.
Bomb, 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 bomb.
Bombardier. So I can't say bomb in an airport. Bomb, 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 bomb.
Meet the parents.
Meet the parents.
Meet the parents. There you go.
Yep.
There you go. Love it.
Yep. Cool. Love it, Goph.
That's a stupid ADP. CBS 200. That's why CBS sucks.
That is crazy.
Boom. Boom, boom, boom. I want you in my room.
That dude or lady knows what I'm talking about.
I screenshotted this one from Uncle Ted. He loves to get radical, just like Chad. Hot take: Luis Angel Acuna will outscore Bohm at third this year. I screenshotted it. I just did the was it Shift Command 4 on my Mac laptop, so we'll save that one down the road.
I think he's going to play second this year, isn't he?
Luis?
Yeah, Acuna.
Yeah, Beatty's third, right?
Yeah, I mean, even if he gets time, I mean, Ronnie Mauricio's coming back. There's a lot of people in New York, man. I don't think anything's a given over there.
Yanto.
So,
are y'all feeling the New York Mets with Pete Alonso coming back? A little bit of hot stove action.
Actually, when we get to keepers momentarily, let's talk about Alonso. Yeah, I want to bring up some more Alonso in the keeper segment. Actually,
yeah. I want to get
anybody else
on
anymore.
record. I want to get more on record. Let me give you my second one here, okay? And a guy that I added late, but people are selling me because I've been on fantasy baseball Twitter, and I have so many that I want to choose from. But Luis Robert is a guy that I'm going to be probably having a lot of shares of this year. We just got finished talking about Jazz Chisholm and the injury aspect of it, but the reason why I like Luis Robert is I think it's almost a guaranteed lock that he gets moved to a contender and has a Jazz-like career or season that Jazz had in 2024.
You just won't let it die, will you? You won't let it die. You just keep last year harping on this all year long.
I love Luis Robert, and I think this is a guy that could go to a contender like Philly, could go shit to the
there it is. I was just gonna say Philly. I know you, Mike. I know you. I know this bit. I know it well.
Yep. I'm going with Luis Robert here because only because of the fact that I think he gets traded this year. So I think he's gonna finish as a top 10
fantasy take.
Wow, dude. Wow. Okay.
Wow, dude.
I mean, I don't disagree with that at all. I love Luis Robert. I don't care where he plays though. So, but it would of course be great if he went to Philly or was a contender elsewhere. Luis Robert, all the potential in the world in his prime, coming into his prime right now.
Yep.
All right. Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. Mike Virginia, Britton Allan, Michael Govier, yours truly. Can we talk a little bit about some keepers? You guys mind?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's cue up this really old-ass song I didn't even remember I did like 5 years ago. It's got old-school flavor, obviously. Very old.
I feel like that's what they play when Larry David walks down the sidewalk on a Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Where'd you get those keepers? Creepers. Where'd you get those keepers?
Wow, that is so stupid. That's great. All right, so let's go back to Pete Alonso now. In my league, so let's talk 14-team head-to-head cats, guys. Keeper leagues, head-to-head cats. We'll just focus on that. This one's 14-teamer. I was offered Pete Alonso and an additional player for my Ronald Acuna. Now, I know how Britton feels about Ronald these days coming into this season, but this is keeper league. So, but when you put the keeper context on it, that does change things a little bit for you, doesn't it? Because it's not just about if you can get Acuna now as a keeper, that matters, right?
Sure.
Okay, just want to make sure we're on the same page with that.
Absolutely.
But I wasn't. Now, this is standard 5x5 except OBP instead of average. So if you get Pete Alonso, OBP versus average, that does help a little bit, right? But I just don't think I was willing to part with Acuna for Alonso and Adley Rutschman. Mike, was I wrong?
So you were getting Alonso and Rutschman, and you were giving away Acuna?
Mm-hmm.
Who is your current catcher now? I mean, you're right, but I just want to know who your.
I think I got Ryan Jeffers, or no, I got our guy, Britton, our guy from Houston, Mr. Diaz, Yainer Diaz.
Oh yeah, you're good.
Love that. Yeah, you're good. Here's the thing with Acuna. It's kind of like the Adrian Peterson rule. He's just a freak athlete. I think he'll be back. Maybe not this year in terms of getting back to the home runs and the stolen bases. Remember, we all had those reservations about him when he tore his ACL the season before, and he came out and stole like 70 bases, and he was the 1-1 pick, and a lot of people's drafts. So. Probably not going to be back until late May this year, but I'm with you, Gove, especially in that format. Acuna's still got a lot left in the tank. I know you don't play in an average league. I do love me some Pete Alonso, though, and I know this was tough for you because you were also getting Rushman as well.
I love Edley.
Alonso is close to the biggest lock in baseball to give you 40 home runs. And I don't think his average the past 2 seasons is
besides Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, exactly. I don't think his average is reflective. The past 2 seasons is reflective of what he can be. I think he's more closer to a 250, 260 guy. The reason why I like Alonso this year is because I think the contract stuff is behind him. He's going to get paid for the first year. I think he can opt out next year if he wants to as well. He got $30 million. Maybe let his hair down a little bit. He's got Soto in that lineup now. I think that team is better than people think. The starting rotation is a little bit more left to be desired, but. I would probably stick with Acuna because here's the thing with Acuna. When healthy, you're talking about the best player in baseball, in my opinion. So
you've got to stick with Acuna.
Outside of
you've got to see how this year goes. What if he comes back 100% and all this stuff is behind him? He is that young. Pete Alonso, you do not trade Acuna for a first baseman and a catcher. You just absolutely – that's like a standard no, you know? Yeah. It's like no.
Yeah. Well, that's what I figured. I also – do you guys see this? Who's this? Fantasy Cowboys here? Do we know this person?
We have a cowboy in the house?
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
Should we bring him in?
All right.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Oh, howdy there, fellas.
Oh, my God.
Just seeing these bold takes. Had to join in. Don't
Yeah?
forget about Nathaniel Lowe.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Him with Jazz and Bohm for the championships.
Insane fantasy takes.
You sound like a very old cowboy. It might be out of shape.
Them Canadian cowboy.
Yeah, they're a little more rugged, maybe. Is that what that is?
It's very cold up north. Great show, fellas.
Hey, thanks, cowboy.
TTYL.
Well, there it is. The fantasy cowboy has spoken.
Wow.
Lock that in. Yeah.
Man, that was a moment. That's never happened on this show ever. That was amazing.
Any era, the Deary era, any era, that has definitely never happened on this show.
Never. That was awesome.
Okay. Also, just as the caveat for you folks there on that deal, 8 keepers. So you don't get to keep everybody. So you can only keep 8. And then obviously Acuna is clearly a top 8. Alonso's a top 8. But you got to think about when you have a roster of 23 players, you only keep 8. In this situation, people try to trade you guys, but you've already got a bunch of guys to keep. So you don't need another guy to make another decision about keeping. So when people try to do a twofer on keeper deadline eve, it doesn't do it for me. I hate that. That's a strategy point. Don't take twofers when you already have keeper conundrums, okay?
That team is probably like, I don't want to keep Pete Alonso and Rushman.
I was just getting ready to say that.
I mean, honestly, I'd rather have Mike Talia.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Thank you. I'm here all week.
You will be.
Tours.
You should show up as the ghost of Mike Talia. That'll be your bit, like the fantasy cowboy. Okay. I have some other ones, unless you guys jump in. Do you have some keeper thoughts on anything? Okay.
Go for it.
I was also wondering, when it comes to keepers, now, do you guys play in keeper leagues, by the way, or are you not? You guys, you do.
I play. Okay. I play in one. I joined a startup one last year.
Okay.
I'm in an auto-new league with you, Mike Govier.
Of course. Great call, dude. That's a great point. We are in the auto. Pallazzo new. Excuse me. Yes. How could I speak out of turn like that? But in keeper leagues where you have 6 keepers, 10 keepers, 8 keepers, or maybe you only have 3 keepers, there's a lot of leagues where you get to keep 2 or 3 guys. I play in a CBS league where you only get to keep 2 per year, but you can't keep the same guy in the first round twice. So like a Bobby Witt, he has a great year. He's a first rounder again. You can't keep him. So there's no long-term value there. And then you can keep guys who are undrafted, if you can draft well, longer than that. So there's a lot of fun keeper stuff out there. And I know it's a big deal to a lot of keeper out there. and his not so silent majority, who just subscribed to our YouTube, by the way. Thank you so much. He's like, I didn't realize I was subbed. Thank you, not so silent majority.
Thank you.
We are 3 keepers only. Yeah, I think that's pretty standard around a lot of leagues for 2 to 3 keepers. 8 keepers. We rotate from 10 to 8 to 6 and then go back up to 8 and to 10. So each year, it's kind of fun. It adds a little bit more strategy and changes each season, but also changes the pool of players and also makes draft picks more interesting. So I also was wondering, when it comes to keepers, guys, would you do the following? Would you rather have, in head-to-head cats now, again, make sure we have the caveat, would you rather have Seiya Suzuki or Lawrence Butler? Is that even a debate?
Butler, it's not even close for me.
I think it's a debate. Seiya Suzuki's been solid, but I love Butler's upside. We talked about him in the last episode. I think he's legit. I think you look at the StatCast page, you do all that kind of stuff, but then you watch him play. Like he hits the ball hard, and he's going to be playing in West Sacramento, California, in a PCL league. I think he's going to have a great season. I love that PCL league, baby.
Oh God, I can't wait for these stats that are coming out of that team.
In the keeper league that I play in, we play it with it's a 12-team head-to-head cats league, and we have NA spots, so we can draft rookies, the guys that aren't even in the bigs yet. So I drafted Jackson Jobe. He's gonna be one of my keepers this year. We don't have necessarily any keeper rules like you were talking about, Gove. Like you can't keep him if he was drafted in the first round last year or whatever.
Sure.
But so it's a good blend of current guys, but also rookies, and then you get your guys who are probably on the back nine. So like guys like Mookie Betts, who are probably not as valued as high as somebody like Gunnar or or Bobby Witt or Julio Rodriguez last year, whatever it may be. So kind of it's a nice blend of all of those things. But when you're talking about Lawrence Butler and Seiya Suzuki, it's funny we're talking about Lawrence Butler because a guy had approached me and he wants a first-round pick for Lawrence Butler in a 15 keeper league. So you get to keep 15 guys off your team. Would you guys do that? I know it's crazy, right?
Wait, you said 15 keepers, right?
15 keepers. Would you trade a first-round pick for a guy like Lawrence Butler?
Hell yeah, I would, right? Because it's the 16th round. Am I missing something?
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I think, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer, I think, because Lawrence Butler is is Lawrence Butler a top 100 guy this year?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah,
Okay, then there you go.
He's being drafted as that. I think he's in the 70s right now, ADP.
Well, then I think that's a no-brainer then.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, Lawrence Butler's done it. Like he it's official. Like he's busted out. It wasn't by accident.
The only thing, Britton, would be we don't know the draft pool. So what if somebody made like a terrible mistake and didn't keep somebody who should have been kept? That's the only caveat because we don't know that, right?
That's a great point. That's a really good point. Is that you have to kind of know what's out there because everything's in context. So in the context of that league, but just like in a vacuum, I mean, with that pick, you're hoping to get Lawrence Butler, right? You're hoping to get it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let me just confirm that you guys keep going. I'm going to confirm that's how many people we keep. Yeah, it's 50. It's 15. It's 15.
I have an issue with Michael Govier that needs to be addressed.
Oh boy, let's do it.
We were talking about keepers, and so I went to our Auto New league that we're in together, the Pallazzo New. That's a Auto New. Auto New is a platform that's like it's / keeper and dynasty, but like you have a budget and there's a money value to your players. Like for instance, Michael Govier has Shohei Ohtani. You can imagine how valuable he is. $66 out of a $400 budget, worth every penny.
Yep.
And then of course, so you've got some really good players. Corbin Carroll is one of your keepers. O'Neal Cruz. By the way, we were talking about StatCast earlier. If you want to see something, go look at O'Neal Cruz's StatCast page. It's like he hits the ball harder than anybody in the league. It's in a league of hard hitters. O'Neal Cruz could have a great season this year.
Yep.
But look at your pitchers. Ryan Pepio.
Your boy.
The piss missile. From the urine stained mattress. And Tanner Bybee. Like, would you like steal my children in the middle of the night and take them to Arizona to your religious convent?
Yeah.
What are you doing? I can't believe it. All my guys are on your team.
He watches the show, of course.
Maybe we got to talk trade. We need to talk some trades then, maybe, because
you also have
Reese Olson,
and that really makes me upset.
The $6 on a $400 budget. I love
so good. Jacob DeGrom for $7. I don't even want to talk about that. That just makes me mad.
I did not play well last year. I mean, look, I got some guys that look better now, but last year was not a good year for me. But we learned a lot last year. It was the first year of the Pallazzo year. So
yeah. This is a keeper dynasty league. This is long term.
Absolutely.
Which is what I drafted for. And not to toot my own horn, Luis Garcia Jr., second base, Ellie De La Cruz, short, Jordan Westberg, middle, Austin Riley at third, Jackson Churio, outfield, Dylan Cruz, outfield, Junior Caminero, utility, Wyatt Langford, outfield.
Oh, my God.
Paul Skeens.
Jeez.
Justin Steele, Dylan Cease, Garrett Crochet, go Vols. If I screw this up, y'all need to take my card.
Can I reel you guys off some of the guys that I have that I'm keeping, and I want to get your all's thoughts on this because I made a trade. I have a lot of first round picks, a lot of higher end picks because I kind of sold some of these guys that I knew I wasn't keeping next year. But my top 4 players, and this is in a 12-team league. I finished in 11th place last year, mind you. Jose Ramirez, Gunnar Henderson, Mookie Betts, Wyatt Langford. Those are most of my first 4 hitters off the board.
Nice.
And then in terms of pitching, Britton, our boy, Mr. Spencer Schwellenbach is going to be one of my guys I'm keeping. Govier, you'll appreciate this one. Jackson Jobe. And then a lot left to be desired in the pitching department. I got a guy like Hunter Brown. We played in a saves and hold league, so closers really aren't at a premium. I kind of screwed that up last year. So I might keep a guy like Gavin Williams or Ben Joyce. And then some of my prospects that I have are Basallo, Ethan Salas, Chase DeLauder, Adrian Del Castillo. So I got some, and Francisco Alvarez and Ezekiel Tovar. So there's some guys I got to choose between, but I feel like I got a pretty good core of guys, especially from the hitting department. Wouldn't you guys say?
Yeah,
I love it. I would get rid of all those catchers.
Get
rid of those catchers.
Oh,
I mean, not get rid of them. Trade them while you can.
I know Robbie's weeping right now. Robbie's crying.
But look, the odds of that working out are like a relationship in high school. Like it can. It's happened. Is it going to? I wouldn't bet on it.
Hey guys, look at this. The sheriff is back. Look who's in. Gentlemen, I missed you. Thank goodness you're back.
Oh, yeah,
the sheriff is back. Eddie. Welcome back, Eddie.
Great
Good to
see
see you, man. Yeah. Wow, that's wonderful. He says, I'm going studs and duds this season. Okay. That's cool. That's always a good approach as well. I also just want to comment on this real quick because I think it does more harm. We can disagree on things. It's okay. We don't all agree on everything, but it's really important that this show speaks to people who like fantasy baseball from all areas. And sometimes the power of the NFBC takes over. So when Uncle Ted says there is only one format, the 15-team main event, and I know when he's joking, but Star Platinum backs it up and says, "You got that right, Uncle Ted." But I don't like that because I'm a Yahoo guy. I love my head-to-head people. There's so many people who play so many different formats, and I love the NFBC. I've played the main event for the last 4 years, so I love it just as much as anybody. But I just want people to know we're here for you on CBS, ESPN, points leagues, whatever you play. Just come on in. Don't feel like this is a know-it-all situation where if you don't qualify or don't belong in a certain area, you don't fit in here because you do. Okay.
I'm still a Yahoo head guy.
Yeah, one of my favorite leagues I was in a few years ago was a head-to-head points league. It was awesome. But then I'm weird. I just like old fantasy baseball.
Yeah, if you're weird, then I don't want to be anything but, buddy. Let's lock that in.
Points is the most popular because
head-to-head cats is up there though. A lot of people play head-to-head cats, your average player. But you're right. Points and cats. That's where most of it is for sure. And I think
the head-to-head thing's awesome. Like you got to beat people. Because in Roto, which I started out in Roto, obviously 5x5, 10-team ESPN. Shout out Gomez from the Brewers, my first.
Carlos Gomez.
Carlos Gomez, thank you. I think he went 2020 the year before. And on my ESPN sheet that I printed out from like my printer, that does that thing where it's like, and it shakes the whole table because your printer is such a cheap piece of crap. But it took like 20 minutes. Yeah, and I had to put 3 cartridges in to print 5 pieces of paper, and it cost $900 of ink to get that sucker printed out. But I did.
These people love Roto. Okay,
yeah,
fine.
I love Roto.
You love Roto. That's fine too. That's cool. Guys, want to do some Shine or Ride the Pine on projections and get out of here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right. This is a segment that goes back to the original days when the show was first created. My friend Chris Deary and I started the Pallazzo podcast.
You talk.
2 Z's.
Give me 2.
And we'd call it Shine or Ride the Pine. And we would just pick a set of projections. We pick all different kinds. Like Britton talked about earlier, he's getting more into projections this year. ATC, the BAT X, all that stuff. There's so many options. So we pick a set, and then we just pick random players, and we say, over or under, shine or ride the pine. That's simple. So today, gentlemen, I thought that we would go with, how about just the classic Steamer? Anybody against Steamer projections?
Cool.
I'm good. And by the way, pine or ride or shine, Mike V, you may be too young for this, but y'all remember Pine Sol?
Yeah, of course.
It came in a bottle, and somebody would like splash it on the floor, and you'd like mop with it.
Yeah,
and everything smelled like Lysol. Like that's some Wheel of Fortune back when you would have to pick stuff to buy, like the ceramic cat for $50, and like you didn't just get money, like you had to like buy stuff.
That was the poopery.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was the poopery at my house. So we keep it underneath like my bathroom sink, like the random like downstairs basement bathroom. We're like, oh man, it smells like shit in here. Just open up a little and just pour a little bit in the toilet. You'd be fine.
That's right. You wake up hungover in college and you have a little bottle of Pine Sol. You just pull it behind the ears.
What do you think?
Oh God, I got chemistry 101.
Yeah.
And Eddie, no, we're not. Sundays won't start until the season kicks off. But yeah, the Sunday show will be back. Dixon Donuts with the guys. Sunday show, 12 noon. Once the season kicks off, I assume, right, guys? Right?
Yeah,
100%. And hey, there's a good point brought up. Price is Right is the all-time greatest game show ever.
Pine Sol was definitely on Price is Right. That's a lot.
Does anyone
That's
disagree with that?
No.
Bob Barker.
Nope, I'm not going to. No.
Yeah.
Beautiful women, fabulous prizes, fun games. The yodeling one, Hey, Plinko, yeah.
On that music kit. It's
but no, Eddie, we're doing pre-draft right now until opening day, so we got lots of draft prep sessions coming up Friday nights, and also Dynasty shows that'll be popping up that are pre-recorded, and the Prospects Power Hour, which is going through all the next big 3 prospects. Those shows will be live up until opening day, so we got lots to cover for you. And you will not be starved for any content. I promise you. That's a lock. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Shine or Ride the Pine. Apparently, I did make a sounder once upon a time. Let's see what this sounds like.
The Pallazzo Podcast presents Shine or Ride the Pine. Each week, we'll choose a random projection system. For example, Zips.
Oh,
Zip. We'll find out if the Zips statistical offering is a shine or ride the pine for that specific player.
Speaking of Price is Right,
determine the fates of MLB's finest and not so finest. All right here on the latest edition of Shine or Ride the Pine.
Eat your heart out, Papa.
Yeah, what was the announcer's name? Roddy? I'm Roddy, or what? Roddy Roddington.
Yeah. Eat your heart out, Parker. Govier's better.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So, all right, hit you boys with some projections. You guys can join in a live chat and answer as well. We'll start right off the top. Let's do an easy one. Let's do a Gunnar Henderson tribute, a Baltimore tribute for our man, Mike Virginia. Shine or Ride the Pine, Mike, 34 home runs.
Shine. He's going over on that, baby.
Okay, Britton?
Over. Agreed, 100%.
I'm going to join you. There's no reason for me to be a contrarian on this. I think he could hit 35 dongs this year. That sounds good. So this is, remember, we're doing Steamer projections for those of you guys wondering what system we're using. Courtesy of Fangraphs. Thanks, guys. All right, next one up. Now, Shohei Ohtani just came off a legendary season. This season, he's expected to have a walk rate of 12.4%. Britton, shy to ride the pine on Shohei Ohtani's 12.4% walk rate.
I'm going to ride the pine because he's going to start pitching. I think that's in the works.
Yeah,
so he's
right.
He's going to be all discombobulated at the plate. So he's going to be swinging at stuff. Yeah, I'll take the under.
I'm taking the shine. I'm taking that. It's one thing Ohtani knows how to do is continue to adjust as pitchers adjust to him. So I think everyone knows who he is at this point. I think he'll definitely exceed that for sure. I'm thinking maybe like a 13-14%.
Eddie says he can't wait to hear the Rick Moranis routine again. LOL.
What are you going? Are you going over or under there on Ohtani?
For me, it seems like this is a classic move. Remember, this is walk percentage, right? So it's not an amount of walks.
Right.
It just seems that he's going to be way beyond 12. He's got to crack 15% at least this year because they will fear him so much. That's the only reason. Like the Barry Bonds approach, right? That's the only reason I'm going to say shine on 12.4% walk rate for Shohei.
I kind of had a weird thing, and I wanted to run this by you guys. I'm kind of off Shohei Ohtani this year. Like he had such a great season. Lightning struck because he's so talented and he's so good. It's just not going to happen 2 years in a row, right? I just don't.
Not that. Yeah, not that.
And then Jose Ramirez is another first round player that I'm like. And I love Jose Ramirez. He's one of my favorite players. I think he's the best third baseman ever. Not ever. This year, anyway. But he had such a great season. That 100% is going to regress into what he did like the year before. I'm worried about those two players. And, when I say worried, I mean, it's not like they're going to fall off the face of the planet or anything. But being drafted top 5, and they should be because of their seasons last year, right? 100%. But the problem is that was last year.
Yeah,
that's not this year. We're talking about this year. What's going to happen this year? And last year isn't going to happen this year. It's just not. It never does. Literally never does.
That's what I said on the Fantasy Baseball Beat Pod. I was like, I love Jose Ramirez, but I just don't think he was going to do what he did last year. So I'm
going to be solid.
I agree with you on both solid points, Britton. I think you're right on the money because that's my thing. I never want to go for the best year ever or like a super year. I want to try to go in a different direction, but I don't want to be stupid either. There's still really good players. You don't want to buy
the stock when it's GameStop, pumped up. Yeah.
I think he's a lock.
Somebody, I got a D in economics. Yes. No lie. I swear to God.
So did I.
At the University of Tennessee, I got a D in economics.
University of Michigan, I technically passed.
That was lucky. Okay.
Pure luck.
I do know you don't buy at the top. You buy when it's low, and that's kind of like, they're players. I think later that you get like Gunnar Henderson. I know this sounds crazy. I honestly believe Gunnar Henderson may outproduce like Shohei Ohtani and Jose Ramirez.
Oh, wow.
I'm not kidding. I know that's crazy.
Bonus edition.
That's not great. That's not crazy. That's a sexy pick there, Britton. I love it.
But Mike, I really you said 30-30 was a lock.
For Jose Ramirez, 100%. Because
30-30 is a lock for Shohei.
I'm not disagreeing with Shohei either. I think for what Britton's saying makes a lot of sense in terms of him going 40-40 again might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think
it's
from
too much to ask.
It is. But look at it from this angle though too. Like in the 2023 season, before they did the whole thing with the stolen bases, he essentially did that. I mean, he went 24 home runs, 28 RBIs, still hit 282. But I think especially with where we're at now, I mean, if he falls between that, he's still top. Between the 2024 and 2023 season, if he falls between that, that's still top 12 value in my opinion, especially for a guy who plays third base, which is not very deep. I know you don't like that verbiage, but I think he's locked to go 30-30. Maybe not pick number 4, but I definitely think he's a top 10 pick for sure.
Okay, no beef with that. But when we talked at the top of the show, what are things I learn and always try to apply? I don't love career year guys. Shohei Ohtani, to me, is an exception. I'll take him anywhere. If I have the first pick, I'll still take him. But I still don't expect him to go 50-50. I do not.
No,
but if I get a 40-40 season, it's a great year still.
Yeah. So that's where I'm kind of saying. That's where I'm kind of at with Jose Ramirez and Britton. We talked about it, I think, last year too. Going into draft season, he's one of the most reliable guys that you're getting too. You're going to get close to 160 games since 2021. He's played 152, 157, 156, and 158 games, and he's basically gone 30-30 in each of those seasons to begin with, anyways, except for maybe 2022 where he went 29-20, but. You're going to get a bare floor minimum of a respectable batting average in 2020 season with the upside of a 30-30, 40-40 season.
100%. But it's one of those things like top 5, like that's just not going to happen. It's just not. So, I like Juan Soto, big contract, new team. I don't like that either. And he's great. So we're kind of like splitting hairs here, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all elite players that at any point in the first round, you're lucky to get. You really, really are. None of these have bust potential, I don't think. I mean, barring injury doesn't count like that.
Yeah.
Like, you can't control that. But, it's those little things that kind of speak to, the Juan Soto and the big it's just these little tiny minute things that make you pick. And Kyle Tucker too. Like, what if he fouls the ball off his shin, the third at bat in Chicago, and he's gone for 6 months? Like, I don't know. Like, no one can predict that, right?
That's the risk, though. You're right.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like we're all rolling the dice, baby. Let's just.
It's like Hard 8. Philip Seymour Hoffman was in Hard 8, which is Paul Thomas Anderson's movie before he broke out with Boogie Nights. Roll that Hard 8, baby. Come on. Right. Let's try Gleyber Torres, guys. Gleyber Torres is a Tiger now. Go Tigers. Believe it or not. He's on a 1-year prove-it deal. Mike, Gleyber Torres is predicted to hit 258 by Steamer in 2025. Shine or ride the pine on a 258 batting average for Gleyber Torres?
Ride the pine on this one. I'm not a big Gleyber guy. Now that I think about it, it's hard for me, right? Because other than that one great season he had when he hit like 15 home runs against my O's in that short porch in left field.
Remember
is
that?
he really? Yeah. I mean, he's going to a pitcher ballpark. I know we're talking about average here, but he goes to a worse situation in terms of the lineup protection. We got his numbers up on the screen here, a 257 average. I've just never been a big Gleyber guy. Would it shock me if he hit 260, 270? No, but at the same time, too, I think this is Javi Baez 2.0 for you guys.
Well, the good news is it's only a 1-year deal, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge difference.
What does that tell you? Yeah, that's the best thing to do. I'm under on everything Gleyber. Like, he had one good year. That's fine. Right. But, under.
You guys are going to call me a homer, but I'm shining. I think Gleyber could hit 270 this year. That's not much more, but it's 12 points higher than what Steamer's saying, so I'll lock that in for me.
Go Tigers. Can I bring up Gleyber one more time here? His expected,
sure.
His XBA was 240 last year, if that means anything to you. I know he hit 250.
Wow. I love the Jack Flaherty signing, by the way, since we're on all things Tigers. What a great I don't know who their GM is or anything like that, but
Scott
what
Harris.
A great get. Yeah, so you've got, and you're paying him. It's what, $25 million? I mean, that's a lot of money, but your team is prime and ready to go. Like, you've got Skubal, you've got Olsen, you've got good players.
And I'm not worried about Olsen either, Britton. Like, I'm still down with Reese Olsen, even though they signed Flaherty. I don't think it hurts him. I still think Reese Olsen's in this rotation.
No, it's better for him. He's the third guy. He's going against the third, ace on the other team. No, I think this ups Olsen's.
But who gets bumped out of that? Who gets bumped now?
I think Jobe's in trouble. Believe it or not, I think Jobe will start in the minors. I didn't know if that would be a hot.
He's starting in the minors.
Oh, okay, good. Well, then we all agree. He starts.
I think it'll be the minors.
He'll be up at some point, but he'll start, I think, in the minors unless he blows everything away in spring training. But even then, these guys are tight asses in Detroit. They know what they're doing, so they're going to stick to their plan.
This is a lazy comp, but it'll be similar to what the Pirates did with Paul Skeens last year. He'll probably be up sometime around the All-Star break. They'll cap his innings. But he and if you guys remember too, it was a battle between him and Skeens like who the best pitching prospect in baseball was, and when they're going in spring training, I think we all knew it was Skeens. But Jackson Jobe had a couple spring training starts that kind of made your eyebrows stand up a little bit. So I think he's going to be a part of that rotation at some point during the season. But I think his trajectory is very similar to what Paul Skeens was last year. Definitely not starting in the majors. I would be shocked if he did.
I need to rain on this Jackson Jobe parade a little bit.
Let's hear it.
It's a little. Y'all are comparing him to Paul Skeens?
Not me.
The Cy Young went like no, like 0. I mean, Jackson Jobe is way more likely to be Matt Manning than Paul Skeens, my friend.
Fiction can be fun.
Paul Skeens is like Steven Strasburg, like 1 in a million. Like Jackson Jobe, he could be good. He could be a rotation guy, but yeah, we need to pump the brakes on the Jackson Jobe, Paul Skeens situation. It ain't close, man.
I'm not comparing the talent. I was saying that in the spring training of last year, there were games that he was touching 102, 103, and was striking guys at a high clip.
So did Jarren Jones. He got. But I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say he's still. I mean, we're not talking about a guy that is a top 30 prospect. We're talking about a top 5 prospect in all of baseball at 22 and can hit triple digits consistently.
So was Todd Van Poppel.
You're 100% correct.
I know how absurd that is, but Todd Van Poppel was a very highly touted prospect. Old school.
Right. Skeens is a generational talent. I'm not disagreeing with that. I love Paul Skeens. I probably like Paul Skeens and more than anybody in this entire chat and room. But Jackson Jobe is a guy who has frontline ace potential with that triple digits fastball, and I think he'll be up at some point this year.
One thing I could tell you without a doubt, Britton, I feel very confident saying this, is Jobe will not be Manning. He'll be better than Manning, only because that's my bread and butter. I'm confident in that. I think it'll be interesting to see if Jobe can do better than Casey Mize. That'll be somewhat interesting, maybe. So we'll see. But he's talented as hell. He didn't look good in that playoff appearance against Houston, but that was a really young pitcher who kind of was thrown into a situation that's very intense. So we can't just base it off a small sample like that either. But I hear what you're saying, Britton. I hear what you're saying, man. I do. I'm
for every Casey Mize, no, I wasn't going to say that because Casey Mize was a number 1 overall pick, wasn't he?
Yes, the number 1.
Yeah.
Alabama.
Yes.
Yeah.
So was Spencer Torkelson, 2 number 1 overalls, and both those guys right now. What?
Wow. And then they paid all that money to the Cubs shortstop. What was this? Is he still on the roster? Or they sunk cost him.
Oh, Javi? Javi's still there. He's still somewhere. I don't know. He's in Puerto Rico. I remember the last year or 2 years ago, AJ Hinch went down to Puerto Rico in the offseason to spend a week with Javi Baez, and that was going to turn everything around. It didn't do shit. There's no cure. It's over for him. So, couple more. We'll get out of here. Oh, you got something?
Real quick. I just want to go on record as saying, too, I actually made a mistake because it was Spencer Torkelson who went to Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. No, he went to Arizona State.
Yeah, he's a Sun Devil. Yep.
Who
Mize went to Auburn. Mize went to Auburn.
Mize went to Auburn.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah.
Same state.
So somebody, I think it was Eddie, the fantasy sheriff, earlier in the chat said he loves Jarren Duran. So how about Jarren Duran this year, Mike, Virginia? Will he score 97 or more runs according to Steamer?
Up. He's going to go over on that shine, baby. I love me some Jarren Duran. If you ever watch Red Sox games and go back and watch, he's got such a sweet swing and he's fast as all hell too. I think his stolen bases alone will put him in position to score that, no doubt. And another year into the majors as well, especially if some of those prospects can hit and come up and play well. I think it's a lock for 100.
Britton?
Pine on Jarren Duran. I think that was a kind of flash in the I don't know. I have some reservations about it, and I think it's because of his facial hair.
Does he have facial hair? Oh, we got on the screen right now. Gotcha. Okay.
He scored 111 runs last year, so this year they're going conservative with 97. But I think I'm going to join Britton. I'm going to say under on 97 too. Again, this is only because he had a really good year. I'm not sure he'll grow exponentially again in 2025, plus the competition and the facial hair. So there you go. All those things. I'm going to ride the pine on it as well. Sorry, Eddie. No buzzkill. It's just we have to speak freely. And we have to be allowed to speak freely because that's what makes America.
Duran had a great year.
He did.
You know, I don't mean to throw any shade on him. And I love, hitters at Boston Fenway, which it's not news shattering to say, but I've been to Fenway and it's one of my favorite ballparks I've ever been to. Is awesome.
I gotta go still. I still want to go there.
Oh yeah, it's so great. I love Boston too. I didn't know what to think, but I vibed with Boston a lot. But I don't know.
The Departed.
Yeah, there you go. That movie sucked, man.
Oh!
I'm kidding. I kid.
You got me.
It's all good.
Hey, let's go to our old boy, Mike Virginia. Aaron Judge, 47 dongs in 2025. Shine or ride the pine.
Ooh, yeah. For those of you guys who are watching, maybe new to the show, I did one player to fade in each round. I think in its first 4 or 6 rounds, I can't remember where I did, and I picked Aaron Judge as a fade. He watched the show and he said, "F you, Mike May, I'm going to come out and just shit all over that take." So, I am going to again take the pine here. Hitting 47 home runs is a lot of home runs.
Yes.
I'm not saying he can't get close to that. I think he's probably upper 30s, low 40s. Did you guys watch any of that postseason though? Which I know
terrible. I did.
This is not part of my take. I think he'll figure it out. But he had a terrible postseason. But that's a lot of home runs to replicate. I'm not saying he doesn't have the capability to do that. But yeah, I'm taking the pine on this one.
Britton, 47 dongs. Aaron Judge.
I have to take the under. 47. That's even though Aaron Judge is the best home run hitter in baseball in a great park. It's just 47 is just too many. I mean, so many things can happen during a baseball season. He can stub his toe, in the outfield,
that's what my reservations are built on.
Diarrhea is a bastard, man. You never know.
If everything breaks right, will he do that? Yes, but I don't know about y'all, but it's very rare everything breaks right. So yeah,
he's getting his mid-30s too. He's a big boy. Yes, he obviously has shown he can hit for tremendous powers, no doubt about that. But maybe one night you go out in New York City after a game, you have a wet burrito, you shit your pants, and you're on the IL. You never know.
Well, what's going to happen is he's going to get out home runned by Jazz, and then he's going to get mad and
walked right into that one.
And he's going to break the bat on his knee.
I was waiting for it.
And then he's going to be injured, and Jazz is going to be like, peace.
Oh god! All right, last one, and we'll wrap this puppy up tonight.
This one right here, I'm with Eddie. You guys got any real quick, just really quick. Jason Dominguez, you guys like him this year?
I'm incomplete. I'm not going to give an answer yet. I'm not sure because I need to look further. That's just where I'm at on February 7th.
Yeah, I do. Huge prospect coming up. Then kind of faded, as many things do. Then he came back. Started hitting. Looks like a great hitter. The problem is, Mike V, by all accounts, and I'm not a scout, his defense sucks.
Poo-poo.
And what we say when it comes to managers, not if you play bad defense, they don't like that S.
No,
they don't.
You're right.
So that's why TJ Friedel has a job. That's it's like, is TJ Friedel a good a hitter as Jason Dominguez? No.
Probably not. Yeah.
Is TJ Friedel going to play every day in center field?
Contact hitter?
Yeah. And that's the issue, playing time with Jason Dominguez.
Yeah. All right, go hit us.
How about this man, Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners?
Ooh,
he's kind of an enigma. He's an interesting cat. Let's go with OBP for 2025. Julio J. Rodriguez. 335 OBP according to Steamer. Britton, 335 OBP for J. Rod. Shine or ride the pine?
I'm shining for Julio Rodriguez. I believe in the talent. I don't believe where he hits, but I think he's going to overcome that. He did that thing that we talk about, like up, down, young.
Yep.
But he's so talented, and he, personality-wise, isn't the type to go hide in a shell or in a hole. He's going to work it out.
That's me.
I think he's going to. The problem is his problem isn't his talent. Now, if Julio Rodriguez played in New York with Aaron Judge and Jazz and those folks, totally different situation. The problem is he plays in Seattle, and that's other than maybe San Francisco, that's the worst place to hit. It's the worst place to hit. So I'm worried about that. So that's why I think his hitter projections are suppressed. So, but I'm still betting on him. I'm not out on Julio Rodriguez at all.
What's the number at Gov?
335 OBP.
Okay, so he has. I'm just looking at his numbers here. He had a 325 last year, 333 the year before that, and then 345 in 2022. So I'm with Britton. I think the talent shines here a little bit. I think he'll get back to being the superstar Julio Rodriguez. Real quick, this is kind of eye popping to me. You guys remember last year when we were talking about Julio Rodriguez as a top 3 draft pick? I think the top 3 were Acuna, Witt, and Julio Rodriguez, right?
I drafted him second in a league last year, or not last year, the year before last.
His ADP right now, currently today on February 7th, sits at number 19. Went from a top 3 draft pick to number 19. So I would love to get him if I got him at 19. I'd be ecstatic for that, just because of everything that Britton just mentioned in terms of the talent. But despite his down year, he does have a lot of red on here, and if you look at his expected stats, probably a little bit unlucky too. A lot of red here. Expected batting average was there, slug, and the expected WOBA. So he needs to do a better job at not chasing and striking out so much and taking a little bit more walks. And I think if he improves on that slightly, I think he can improve on that. So I'll take the shine.
Yeah, one thing that's really cool about this, Mike, this is year 3. We're doing this together, you and I, right? And
year 3.
Yeah, all of us. Britton, you've been here multiple years now too. We get to accrue, and we get to go back and look at how things change so radically from one year to the next. And that gives us an advantage because we're so locked in on this stuff that we can see like, wow, what is the exact reason this guy has such a discrepancy in his ADP now? Is it legitimate? Is it just people who are looking at it on the surface and saying, oh, he's no good? He's only 24 years old still, and this guy is supremely talented. So I'm going to join you guys. Absolute shine on a 335 OBP. I think even if he's at 350, that's an improvement. But he could go. I see him as a guy, if he shows more patience and gets help in his lineup, he should be a guy who's up in 360, 370 territory. But I'm not saying that's going to happen in 2025.
He kind of reminds me a little bit of like Mike Trout, when Mike Trout is at Los Angeles and there's nobody around him. Like the only other good, like name a good player, a good hitter. I mean,
Rosarena.
Even then,
Cal Raleigh is the only one I can think of. Like
his
catcher,
sub 200 batting average.
Yeah, I mean it's not good. Like name their 6, 7, 8 hitter. Is it
Dylan Moore?
Canzoni? Like Sam Haggerty?
Dylan Moore's coming over.
Dylan Moore, like dude, your batting average.
Don't forget Victor Robles. Come on.
What's it?
Luke Raley? Mitch Haniger?
Mitch Haniger. That's what I'm thinking of.
Jorge Polanco's penciled in at third base? Wow, dude.
No.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, this lineup looks really bad now, actually. Actually, we might have just talked myself out of this. Boy, this is rough.
You can't do it.
Oh, actually, on the flip side, though, if anything, this lineup sucks, so they just walk him all the time, so he has a high OPP.
Exactly right.
Why walk him? No, they're not going to put him on base. If he gets a hit, he gets a hit, but nobody's going to bat him in behind him. No, they're not walking anybody.
Utah.
Hey, here's a question. Julio Rodriguez or Jazz Chisholm Jr. in the second round? You get your choice.
Oh, shit.
Mike B.A., you first. You noted Jazz hater
Not a Jazz
because
hater.
Labeling him a bust, it's like you don't like Johnny Coltrane or something. I don't know. Or
you just call him Coltrane?
I'm gonna go Julio Rodriguez here, but it's close.
I'm so biased against Jazz, so I admit that.
I will
freely.
admit, Britton. I'm with Govier on this. I admit this wholeheartedly. I have a huge bias against Jazz just because of the injury history thing. It's never gonna come out of my brain ever. I wish You know what sucks about that too is he's probably going to have a season like you're talking about, and I'm going to miss out on it because I'm just not drafting him from the injury aspect of it. You're probably right, but my heart won't let me do it.
Yeah, everything I know says otherwise, but I really feel bad about it right now because I don't want to miss out. One of my big things in the prep and the lessons year to year is don't let my emotional bias limit me or prevent me from doing what's best for my team. And that's drafting, fab, all that stuff. So
it's only natural. Men look backwards. Women look forward.
Men only think about Roman history, right? Isn't that the thing?
Not what happened 20 years ago. That's what I'm saying. Let's do it.
He's basically calling us women, Gov. That's what he's saying.
Hey, I'm proud to be a woman. I would shake my bonbon and show what I got. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
With Miami Marlins in 2022. It doesn't matter. Yeah. What's happening? What's happening now?
Locked you in, Britton. You're locked in, brother. Well, it's been a
Hang on. Are you taking Rodriguez or are you taking Chisholm?
Uh-oh. Am I going to have to put this in the book?
Put it in the book.
Yeah, definitely. Have someone write it down. I'm gonna go Jazz. I hate it. It's everything I don't believe in right now, but I know that I'm wrong sometimes. So, everything is lining up to maybe be his career. So I do have to admit that. I don't feel good about it or confident, but I'm with you, Britton. I'm gonna say Jazz.
Really quick on Seattle. Just looking
at train, Mike VA. I know you want to.
No. I'm going to be different and go.
It's that AL East bias, man. You got to get over it.
That's right. And he's a Yankee, of course. I'm wearing an O's hat, for God's sake. You know what's crazy about the Mariners, guys, is we talk about how shitty their lineup is.
But they're pitching.
In the same breath, we talk about their starting.
We do it quick. Are you looking at the lineup?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's Robles, Julio, Cal Raleigh,
Rosarena.
Mike Govier. Can you name any other on the?
Well, I went and looked when we started talking, so I'm out.
Okay. Well, let me think. Mitch Haniger. I think we said.
Yeah,
that.
Mitch Haniger.
Still playing for them. Okay.
Yes.
He actually is on a contract.
And I think they brought Polanco.
Jorge Polanco back.
Is Colton Wong still there? No, he's gone.
I can just see that boardroom meeting in beautiful Seattle, downtown Seattle. Like, hey, remember that player that had a terrible season for us last year, and we either cut him or non-tender or whatever. Let's bring him back. And everybody's like, yay, what time's lunch?
It's like that Moneyball. It's like that Moneyball meme, when he's pointing at the board. He's like, Billy, this is so-and-so, right?
Like, this is below average.
He's got an ugly girlfriend. Ugly girlfriend. You know what that means.
Like,
I feel bad because Sam Wershing's our guy. Sam Wershing, our beloved co-host, is a Seattle diehard. I feel bad. So. Yeah, we love you, Sam, and I
love the Mariners shirt. I like the Mariners.
I love the Mariners. Yeah,
but 1 to 5 in the rotation though, and they have a pretty solid bullpen at that too. Their hitting sucks.
Pitching is so good.
One good hitter. I mean, from 1 to 5, they arguably have the best rotation in baseball.
Actually, next episode we should do a segment on most radical contrast teams. This might be. Let's see if anybody tops Seattle's hitting compared to its pitching. The contrast is stark, right? It's big.
It is. Yep.
Who they get in the trade? Was that Castillo? That was a good trade.
Which trade?
What was the trade where? The Mariners, I guess the Mariners traded for Luis Castillo, the starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Who did they give to Cincinnati? I don't even remember. Was
they
it
gave up a pitcher, Brandon Williamson, and but the main attraction, that's a good question. I think it was a third baseman, a hitter, an outfielder.
So he was traded to the Mariners for 4 minor league prospects, including 3 who were ranked in the top 5 in Seattle's organization at the time. And those players were Noelvi Marte.
That's the one I was thinking. That's it. That's the guy, the third baseman. Yeah, he was the centerpiece.
Edwin Arroyo and Levi Stout and Andrew Moore. Those were the players involved in the trade.
Oh, Brandon Williamson must have been in a separate Seattle deal.
Yeah, Marte. I remember Mike V and I were big on Marte for a minute, and then he got busted for PEDs, and he's never anything close to anything. So
no,
that was a long time ago. Well, gentlemen, this has been tons of fun. I'm so glad we got to get all 3 of us together on the same screen at the same time. 3 faces, so beautiful. Shout out to everybody in the live chat tonight. You guys crushed it. You were in the zone. Round of applause, everybody. The sheriff returned. Nazi saw the majority. Busy. Frank Rizzo and Brett Weir. Okay, cool. I don't know who those guys are, but I do know that I love doing this show. Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. Follow Mike Virginia. Follow Britton Allan. Follow myself wherever we are these days. Twitter, Blue Sky, the Discord. That is the place where we cultivate our own world. So you can come in there and just talk sports or talk about your favorite porter, whatever's on your mind. You got a ham sandwich you want to share with a recipe? We'd love to hear about it. Just throw it in the Discord. And make sure you follow everybody else. Robbie Baseball, Big Gentle Ben, and Sam Wershing, the poor Seattle Mariners fan.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yes!
We got two more followers today. We're up to 913.
Yes!
Maybe I shout out some of the commenters. Thank you so much for being here. Pitbull, Star Platinum, Not So Silent Majority, Uncle Ted, of course. Shout out to you, my friend. Always bringing the heat. Like it or not, you come with your opinions, and we love it. Appreciate you so much. So many good people. Joe, Chris. Eddie Buzz is back. The Buzz. Y'all remember
That's
the
right.
Buzz from last year? Good to see you again. Out of Rhythm, and you're awesome. Totes to you. So many great people. And if I missed your name, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to scroll through it. But thank you, everyone, for participating. And we'll do it every Friday if y'all want. So shout out.
Hell yeah. Let's do it. Captain Jack, take us out. Thanks, everybody. Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's. No, we're not going to point out your fails. 2 L's Tuesday.
Utah, give me 2.
Right, lads. Now, I know there's not a faint heart among you. And I know you're as anxious as I am to get into close action. But we must bring him right up beside us before we spring this trap. That will test our nerve. And discipline will count just as much as courage. The Acheron is a tough nut to crack. More than twice our guns, more than twice our numbers. And they will sell their lives dearly. They mean to take us as a prize. And we are worth more to them undamaged. Their greed will be their downfall. England is under threat of invasion. And though we be on the far side of the world, this ship is our home. This ship is England. So it's every hand to his rope or gun, quick's the word and sharp's the action. After all, surprise is on our side.